And welcome to the Breakin Broncos. I am your host, Dan Wetstein. Unfortunately, today I do not have a co-host. Unfortunately, he has some personal items or issues that he's got to take care of. He's fine, no worries, but he will not be here today. So, unfortunately, you just get my ugly mug to stare at today. Let's go ahead and let's jump into things. As we all know, the Broncos put an absolute clunker out there yesterday. It was absolutely abysmal to watch, beginning to end, essentially. We got looks at possible playoff hopes that are still coming. The Broncos D shutting down Burrow, Mixon and company, and what that means. Lockout playing Teddy Bridgewater in every way, yet Teddy still gets all of the excuses you could ever have. And then we're going to rate our top three offseason musts by George Payton, and then as always, give you some preview and picks of the Las Vegas Raiders game coming up this Sunday or Saturday, I believe, actually. So here we go. Go ahead and jumping into this ugly, clunker, just abysmal attempt at a football game that we all witnessed yesterday. I don't think we could really say either one of these teams is a viable, deep playoff contender because both sides were absolutely ugly. Outside of the Broncos D and the Bengals actually showing up and doing something in their back end and secondary, as long as Teddy Bridgewater was on the field, anyways. Um, it's just, this was sad. It was a really sad thing to see Denver put up that type of effort yesterday after the game that we all witnessed um, last week against the Lions. That was so inspiring, was so fun to watch. For them to come out and lay the egg that they did yesterday was beyond disappointing, is the best way that I can put it. Yes, Teddy and Tom had one hell of a day yesterday, Nika. You are 100% correct on that one. Yeah, Teddy got knocked completely out. I mean, straight up Martin Lawrence on Friday. You got knocked the out type of thing. And I apologize for anybody that heard that. I don't know why it went through. I apologize. My devices are connected, and somebody just called me that immediately hung up. So I apologize for that. I don't know why that went through because everything is sitting on silent right now. But anyways, we will move on from that. Get back to what we were talking about. The fact that Teddy and Tom had a hell of a day. Teddy was actually released from the hospital today. That's where I was wanting to get to. He seems to be doing okay. All the reports are that, no uh, immediate effects. Nobody can sit here and say that there's going to be no long-term effects from a man getting knocked completely unconscious to where he was making involuntary movements with his body is going to be okay in the long term. Um, Vic Fangio also did retract his statements from yesterday, where he was talking about we'll have to wait and see, and we're going to hold out hope and all of those things for Teddy to be back against the Raiders. He actually retracted those statements and stated that it is very highly unlikely that Teddy will be coming back for the Raiders game this weekend. So it looks like a Drew Lock week, y'all. Um, which was honestly, if you want sunshines and rainbows, that was one of the few sunshines and rainbows. Is that Drew Lock was able to come in and take an offense that had scored 3 points in almost three full quarters and was able to take them down the field and score a touchdown after, again, not getting any time to create any type of chemistry with any of his wide receivers in over a month. But yet again, no matter all the good that he did in this game, everybody just wants to point to the one bad play that they completely put on Lock, which is completely unfair. We all need to realize and give credit where credit is due. In all three of Drew Lock's turnovers this season, the defender has made an absolutely amazing play. The first turnover came when he came in relief in the Baltimore Ravens game, and at the end of the game, with no time on the clock, on third down, with again no time on the clock, which means that this was the last play of the game. There was two options that Drew had: throw it out of the back of the end zone and not give any of his receivers a chance, or he could throw it up to the guy that was just a few weeks away from getting an almost $80 million contract and give him a chance. So he did. He threw it up where his receiver had a chance. And if Cortland Sutton wouldn't have stumbled over his own feet and fell backwards on that play and was actually able to go up and go over Anthony Averett, who again made a great jumping, falling backwards interception of the pass. Let's give credit to the defender. Okay. That's all I'm asking. Like, yeah, what did it suck for the Broncos? Of course. But y'all would have been just as mad if he would have thrown it three rows into the stands. The man cannot win with you people. It's absolutely insane. What kind of a standard that you hold this backup to? There is no other backup quarterback in the league that is held to the same standard as Drew Lock. And all y'all want to do is scream, oh, he's a backup, he's a backup, he's a backup. But then when he comes in, you grade him like he's supposed to be the franchise quarterback. You can't have it both ways. It's either he's a backup and you treat him and you grade him as a backup, or he's a starter and a franchise quarterback and you grade him that way. You cannot have it both ways. And something that's really gotten me frustrated is that you Teddy trolls have gotten to the point where you won't even listen to anything. I've even heard local pundits that have asked the question on their show saying, what does Drew give you that Teddy doesn't? And then whenever somebody says something positive about Drew Lock or negative about Teddy Bridgewater, they cut them off. How are you going to ask questions when you know you don't want the true answers? It's because you want to push a narrative. It's because you have locked yourself on to Teddy Bridgewater and you refuse to admit that you were wrong, which is absolutely sickening and pathetic at this point. The man is garbage as a quarterback. He's a great human being. He seems like a great guy. But as a NFL quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater is absolutely garbage. And again, for the millionth time, I am not a Drew Lock lover. I am still not going to sit here and say Drew Lock is the guy. But as I have said since day one, Drew Lock is the guy that's going to do one of two things. He is going to ball out and be your franchise quarterback, or he's going to do what you all say he's going to do, and he's going to absolutely suck, and the Broncos are going to end up with a top 5 or top 10 pick. I mean, it's obviously too late for that now because people were so up in arms about, oh, Teddy's better and because of practice. Like, seriously, we are still talking about practice. I feel like Allen Iverson right now. Why are we talking about practice? Who cares? That's all y'all's defense is. Oh, in the practices, Teddy was better. Who gives a damn? I don't. Your practices mean nothing when you don't win games. When you go out against a bottom 5 pass offense or pass defense and are only able to muster 88 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 points. This is the guy you guys are defending. The man that against any team that's decent outside of 2 fluke games, the Chargers and the Cowboys, where the Chargers and Cowboys overlooked the Broncos. It wasn't that the Broncos were the better team, it's that they were the more focused team on that Sunday. So miss me with all that BS y'all have about Teddy's a winner. Where? What? How? The man has a losing record. He has had a losing record as a starter in every year except for 2, and one of them was as a backup. So as a starter, his only year with a winning record was his rookie season before the injury. I don't know how many times I got to bring up the fact that Teddy is not the same Teddy that he was in Louisville. That Teddy is gone forever. You are not rediscovering the Heisman Trophy winning Teddy Bridgewater. It's not going to happen. Teddy Bridgewater is dead. And if you have any other take on that, you have no idea how to evaluate quarterback talent. But I don't want to go ahead and sit here and make this all about jumping on Teddy Bridgewater and Teddy trolls and all those things. What I really want to discuss is that despite this loss, do the Broncos have any playoff hopes? The honest answer is no. That that loss against the Bengals was the last gasp that this team had to legitimately make a playoff run, because they literally had it in their hands. Every single team that was above the Broncos in the playoff rankings lost yesterday. The only thing they had to do was score 16 points, 6 more points than what they scored, and the Broncos would be sitting in a wild card spot. No other questions asked, no other math equations are needed. That was all they had to do. Score 6 more points and they would be in the playoff picture. But now that they've taken that loss, it's almost impossible. Um, we'll go ahead and I'll give you all a look at what the playoff picture looks like. Let me get this moved over here. Sorry, again, working alone, so there might be some hiccups and things along the road. Just bear with me and we'll push through. But right here on the right-hand side, right over here, y'all can see this is the current playoff picture in the NFL. You have Kansas City in the 1 seed, which everybody a couple weeks ago was asking, what's wrong with KC? Well, obviously nothing, because now they are sitting as the number 1 seed and the only team with a bye week in the playoffs at 10-4. Then you have New England in their resurgence at 9-5, Tennessee at 9-5, and Cincinnati at 8-6. All of those teams are in first place in their division. That's how they are getting in currently. And that's another big thing for Cincinnati, is they not only won a game yesterday and got themselves into the wild card, they actually took over first place in their division. So Cincinnati fans are as happy as Broncos fans are upset right now. Then you have Indianapolis, LA, and Buffalo all tied for the 3 wild card spots at 8-6, with about 3 other teams, including the Baltimore Ravens and others, that are tied at 8-6 right behind. So essentially, the Broncos are going to have to win all 3 of their remaining games, and then have all 3 of those teams that are in the wild card, Indianapolis, LA, and Buffalo, to all lose all 3 games. There's other scenarios that can get into the weeds, and I won't go there, but that's the easiest path, quote unquote, easiest path the Broncos have to the playoffs. So to make it short and sweet, no, the Broncos do not have a viable path to the playoffs right now. So that can answer your question there. And we have some questions in the chat. Again, I'm by myself, so I apologize if I get a little slow and get behind on these, but bear with me. I'll get to as many as I can. Nika says he could be that guy. I'm sure that's probably Drew, because she just said I like Drew before that. So I think if he gets in the right situation, Drew Lock can be a special talent. But he has to be in the right situation. Whether or not he gets that is going to be the juxtaposition on whether or not that plays out. Drew needs some positivity every time he steps in for Teddy. He tries to get the Broncos to score more points. And think about this, guys. While Teddy was on the field, the Broncos got booed. You know what happened after Drew Lock got out there? No more boos. Not even at the end, because everybody had a belief that Drew could do something because he's done it before. Teddy Bridgewater has only had 1 fourth quarter comeback in his entire career. That's it. Drew has played a year worth of football and has 3. I still do not understand how y'all defend this man as a winner. Drew has a better winning percentage as a starting quarterback. I mean, no matter how you slice it, Drew comes out on top. Talent. And really, outside of production this year and 5 games in New Orleans, Teddy has not outproduced Drew. And the only reason he's outproduced him this year is because he's gotten more of a chance. Drew hasn't. So, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't want to go too far into the weeds there. We got some more here. Yes, Teddy is not it. And I mean, honestly, this is going to be Drew's chance. He's going to get a full week of practice with the ones. This is his moment, and he's going to go up against a very beatable Las Vegas Raiders team with a beat up secondary. So, this is his greatest chance this entire season. This is going to be really the first chance that we are going to get to see Drew Lock play wire to wire and see just how much of an improvement he's made between his own preparation and what he did with Peyton Manning. So I think it's a great week for him to do it. I think it would have been better against the Lions, just because of how bad that team is, even though they did win again yesterday, which is kind of interesting. But you know, the fact that he's getting in against a team that has a weaker defense, they do have a good pass rush though, so it's going to be something that he's going to have to be, make sure he's getting that ball out. He can't really hold on to the ball like he still has a little bit of a tendency to do. But again, he hasn't had any reps with the ones. So these people talking about, oh, Drew Lock he's off time. Well, no, duh. You're going to be off time too if you haven't had any time to build the timing with your receivers. Like, I don't understand how people are expecting Drew Lock to come off the bench after over a month of not throwing to these receivers, but somehow is supposed to magically be on time on every throw to every single wide receiver. These are the standards that I say are absolutely asinine, pathetic, and retarded, and I cannot stand them anymore. I can't coddle y'all. I can't be nice. If you are sitting here still defending Teddy Bridgewater as the best option for the Broncos, just shut up, leave me alone. I don't want to hear it anymore. You're an idiot, and I can't stand it anymore. I just can't do it. I'm beyond even being my version of nice at this point. I just cannot do it. Your takes are dumb, and I cannot handle them anymore. So if you come to me with a dumb Teddy take, expect me to just go off on you. I have no patience whatsoever anymore. Let's see here. Teddy and Tom need to take the rest of the season off. Yeah. I don't know about Tom because the Buccaneers literally have no better option. So they don't really have a choice. They got to ride out him until the end of the season, even though it does seem like Father Time has finally beat him over the last couple of weeks. It looks like Father Time's taken that cane and beat Tom just a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Yes, the Broncos country needs more than what Teddy gives them, 100%. Yes, that's another thing. Thank you, Joe, for bringing that up. They would have just said it was pure luck if Locke came in and won it. That's the infuriating thing. And that's why I said earlier is like Drew cannot win in this scenario because y'all will continuously move the goalposts no matter what this man does because y'all just hate him so much for whatever dumb reason. I still don't understand why y'all don't like the man. Like y'all taking this to a personal level. I don't understand. Like y'all act like it's personal with me and Teddy. It's not. It's not at all. I have never once said a bad thing about Teddy the person. I have only spoken bad about Teddy the quarterback. If you can't separate the person from the player, then you don't need to be watching sports because you're a crazy person, and I don't need that in my life, and nor does anybody else. If you cannot separate the player from the person from the athlete, then you're just a crazy human being, and nobody should have to deal with you. Dan the super fan. Yep, that's me coming out right now. I'm angry. I'm angry and I'm upset. I don't understand why this is still happening. This is still your Broncos. Regardless of who is at quarterback, it is still your Broncos. Why are we sitting here and rooting for Drew to fail? I have never rooted for Teddy to fail. See, that's the difference between me and you guys. I don't take this stuff personally. Everything I do is analytical, purely analytical. I don't let my emotions get into anything because emotions do nothing but cloud your judgment. It makes you believe things that are not true. You can't do that and be an impartial, unbiased party giving analysis. The other difference is when I go looking for something, when I go look at the numbers, I'm not looking to vindicate my feelings. I'm not looking to vindicate what I think. I am going in search of knowledge. And then I allow that knowledge to take me to the story. I have never went and been like, I'm going to prove everybody wrong that Drew Lock is the best in the world. No, I've never done that. I've also never sat there and been like, I'm going to go to prove to the world that Teddy Bridgewater sucks big booty. Like, I never do that. I don't. I sit there and I look at the numbers and I let them tell me the story. I don't create the story. I find it, I bring it to you, and I give you the facts and the evidence, and I build the story around the facts and the evidence. I thought this was apparent. I thought that it would have to go without saying that I don't speak unless I've done research. But obviously, people don't understand that I actually do my research, that I actually do it unbiased and impartially. It's always the argument that what I say is emotional. Just because I'm passionate doesn't mean I'm emotional. There's a difference there. When you're being emotional is telling me that the only reason that you go so hard at Drew Lock is because I hurt your feelings for going so hard at Teddy Bridgewater. That's emotional. That's not passionate. That's emotional. That's getting into your feelings and being mad that I said something mean, as you quote unquote, mean by me analyzing a player's play, and it hurts your feelings. And so your response is, oh, I'm just going to be mean to his guy. But what, again, you don't realize that's not my guy. I've never said Drew is my guy. I've said he's got the potential to be the guy. And I will still stand right here, right now, and I will look you in the face with a straight face and tell you again that he still can be the guy. He has all the talent in the world. It's a matter of tapping that talent and putting it on the field. Whether or not he will ever do that, we don't know. We won't know until he gets some reps. Yes, 1000%. That's why I say don't question the blue. Again, I don't say that because I don't want you to question, like, we don't want feedback or it's just a one-way street and I'm just talking at you. I say that because you don't have to question my reliability or my integrity, which includes my research. You can rest assured that when you hear me say something, you can take it to the bank and it's money. Straight cash, homie. That's all it is. All day, every day. My checks don't bounce. They go straight through, baby. That's all it is. So I don't know why y'all keep questioning me because yet again, not a single damn one of you have proved me wrong. I have had Teddy troll after Teddy troll that I have smacked up and down Twitter. Y'all want to keep coming? I'll keep smacking you. That's just what I do. But I mean, it's not what I want to do. But if I have to, I will. Like it's what I keep trying to warn y'all. Keep poking the bear. Eventually, I'm gonna bite. So don't get mad when I bite. Like that's the next thing is you don't get in your emotions. Get mad at me just simply because I'm spitting facts and truth. Like, get over yourself. Just because you are entitled to an opinion does not mean you are entitled to be right. That's where people get it twisted. They think that just because they have the freedom to say something, that they also have the entitlement and the freedom to be right and to not be questioned. That's not how this world works. That's not how free speech works. Yes, you have the freedom to tell me anything you want to say as long as you're not inciting violence and all that BS. But that also gives me the freedom to tell you exactly what the hell I have to say. And you don't get to get emotional about it. Just like I don't. So, again, get over yourself. And just because you have an opinion does not mean you are entitled to being correct. Next time you want to feel Phil and the co-host pick me. Okay, gotcha. We'll see how that works out next time. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just insane to me, guys. Just let's move on. Let's support y'all wanted to jump on me for this whole season saying that I'm not supporting my team, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, as long as your guy was behind center. But the moment that the other guy gets behind center, all of a sudden, oh, it's everybody for themselves. We got to be one Broncos country under Teddy. But if Drew's under center, then oh no, y'all can't do it, can you? Man, miss me with that, man. Y'all is pathetic. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to something that's actually a little bit of sunshine and rainbows, and the fact that this defense yet again showed up. And the main man I want to talk about is my guy, Justin Simmons. This man was everywhere. The man did everything he could to try and will this team to a victory. He had 4 tackles, 2 sacks. He was in passing lanes. He was stopping the run. The man just, he is the one that is earning his contract extension. The the 2 wide receivers, Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton. I don't know why his name just skipped my head, but they have done absolutely nothing since they got their contract. Like, for example, yesterday, the trio of Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and Jerry Jeudy had 15 targets for a grand total of 5 catches and 54 yards. And oh, my bad, 1 touchdown because Tim Patrick had the 1 touchdown. This is getting very worrisome, guys. I've been talking about Jerry Jeudy and his drops since he was drafted. I have been worried about Cortland Sutton and his drops since he came back from the ACL injury. And the whole Timmy P dropping crap all of a sudden is an absolute red flag. This is the guy that we have talked about for the last 2 years that has not dropped a pass since 2019. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, the man's got 3 drops. That can't happen. And for all y'all wanting to talk about how Drew killed everything, how about let's talk about Cortland Sutton missing that pass that, yes, was above his head, but it hit him in both hands. This is your 70, almost $80 million wide receiver. If it hits you in the hands and you're $80 million special, you better come down with that. That's not on Drew. That's on Cortland. And again, that was a timing route. How is a man that has no time with his receivers supposed to build time with his wide receivers? Can you please answer that question? Because I still don't understand how that's supposed to work. But again, I will show you these numbers. Let me pull this back up here. Look at this. Our 2 leading receivers were the tight ends. Albert O, who had 3 catches for more yards, 3 catches for more yards than those 3 wide receivers combined. And he's the backup tight end. That's not your starting tight end. That's your backup tight end. And then Noah Fant caught 5 of 6 targets for 57 yards. Again, the same amount of catches and more yards than those 3 wide receivers combined, and that's your tight end. I don't have a fix for this. It's just something that's really concerning to me, is them with all these drops. It's just, it can't happen when you have quarterback play like the Broncos have. When the quarterbacks that have been inaccurate are accurate, the receivers have to catch the ball. There's no other excuse. And it's not like Teddy or Drew throw that many uncatchable balls. Yes, they both have their moments. Drew typically overthrows, Teddy typically underthrows. But again, when they hit you in the hands, when they hit you in the numbers, you have to catch those balls. There has been many a drive killed over the last 3 weeks simply off of drops. And it's completely wasted yet another great defensive effort. um, as we've seen, Justin Simmons right here, 2 sacks, 4 tackles. And you also had Shelby Harris who pitched in a sack. And I really do think the Broncos missed Draymond Jones, who had an injury and was inactive just before the game. I think that also played a role in the Bengals being able to finally break through and get some running on the board. Because up until I believe it was the third quarter, the Broncos defense really just shut down Cincinnati. And if it wasn't for that one bad drive where they gave up the 56-yard touchdown to Tyler Boyd, uh, they really had a perfect game outside of that one drive that for some reason Fangio completely changed the defense and went from an attacking, aggressive, blitzing style of play for the first 3 quarters that for that one drive, he all of a sudden went into zone and essentially prevent when you only had a 1 point lead. I don't understand. Just like I don't understand how Vic Fangio was just going for a field goal right before the half. That was infuriating to watch because they played conservative. This is what happens in the NFL. If you play not to lose, you are going to lose. And that is exactly what the Broncos did. They played not to lose right before the half. Instead of just pushing it down the field and trying to get a field goal and trying to get a touchdown and then settling for a field goal if you can't get it in, they played for the field goal and then didn't get the field goal, completely bumbled the time management and the timeout management, missed the field goal, and then go into a prevent defense that allows Cincinnati to gain 20 yards on the next play and kick a field goal of their own to take the lead right before the half. That was the most infuriating set of play calls between the absolutely inept offensive play call by Pat Shurmur throughout that drive, and then for Fangio to play so close to the vest to completely screw it and then screw the pooch even more by going into prevent defense and allowing Cincinnati to get into field goal range right before the half. Like this should be it. There should be no way that Vic Fangio and Pat Shurmur or any of them on this coaching staff can keep their job. That had to be the last nail in the coffin because for some reason Vic Fangio has refused to take on the head coaching role. He attacks the head coaching role as if he is the defensive coordinator. He holds no one accountable. He doesn't know how to coach the other coaches. And I think this is something that happens a lot when you take a first time head coach from a coordinator position. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get the Sean McVays or the Doug Petersons of the world. But a lot of times, this is what you end up with. You end up with a guy that does not understand the amount of power that he wields. He does not understand that he has the power to fire and hire whoever he wants on his staff. And I don't care if he wants to claim it's loyalty to his guy Pat Shurmur. At this point, it is infuriatingly stupid that Vic Fangio has not fired Pat Shurmur. At this point, anybody could call a better game than Pat Shurmur. I could go up in the booth right now, not knowing the offense, and call a better game than Pat Shurmur just by calling it just stupid names. Like, run left, dummy. Run right, idiot. Like, that's literally how easy it could be at this point with this offense. That's all you need to do. Run right, run left, run right, run left. Oh, you want to pass? No, stupid. Run right, run left. That is all you should be doing. With Javonte Williams playing at the level he is, with Melvin Gordon pitching in the way that he is, run the damn ball. I don't understand why this is a hard concept. You have two of the better backs in the league. Run the damn ball. But yet, here we have more passes than we do runs, yet again, and yet another loss. The Broncos are undefeated when they run the ball at least 35 times. That's a pretty simple math problem, right? You're undefeated when you run the ball at least 35 times. Yes, I know that's pretty simplistic, but I'm trying to make it simplistic. I could go a lot farther into the weeds with this, but I'd lose a lot of y'all. So we're going to keep it simple. Run the damn ball. Stop trying to throw it like you have Peyton Manning on your roster still. He is retired. He is not coming back. And there is no replica of him anywhere in sight in Dove Valley. So instead of trying to fit square pegs in round holes, like this coaching staff seems to be fervent on doing, let's figure out what our players do best and do that. It's not that complicated. The offensive line and this offense goes when Javonte Williams goes. Period. The better he is, the more touches he gets, the better this offense is. Period. That is not a debate. That is not a question. That is just a simple fact. And I do not understand why I seem to be one of the few that actually get it. It's like everybody wants the sheriff to come waltzing back in with his boots on and come on out and get the Broncos one last ride to the great show, but it's not going to happen. And the Broncos have absolutely screwed the potential of this season. The potential of this season was to find out if Drew Lock was the guy. And none of you know. I will again say, if you say you know, you're an idiot and you don't know. Stop pretending. You are not any better than anybody else out here. And again, that's not me saying I'm better than you. It's me saying calm the hell down. Sit down, Rufus. Sit down. And shut up and let things play out. Now, here's a scenario for you. Let me tell you, you got a 4-12 team. And I tell you, I'm going to give you a second round rookie quarterback. And that rookie quarterback is going to take your 4-12 team. And he, in his first year, full year of starting, he's going to give you an 8-10 record. That's a 4-game improvement. In that 4-game improvement, he's going to give you 4 fourth quarter comebacks, or 4 game-winning drives and 3 fourth quarter comebacks. He's going to throw for over 4,000 yards, and he's going to have a positive TD to interception ratio. It doesn't matter what you want to give him. It could be 1.01 to 1 or higher. But he's going to have a positive TD to interception ratio. Are you going to accept that? You damn well know you are. Those are the numbers that Drew Lock has given in a 1-year sample size. He took a team that was 4-12 the year before they drafted him, and in his first full year of starting, he is 8-10 with 4,092 yards, 23 touchdowns to 20 interceptions, and has another 250 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on the ground. So again, I ask, what is your problem with Drew Lock? What is your real problem with Drew Lock? And why is it that you can jump on the kid? Let's remember, this is still a kid. The man is only 3 years past his 21st birthday. He's only been able to legally drink for 3 years. Obviously, he was in college and drinking before that, but we don't hold that against people because we've all done it. So you want to keep casting stones in a glass house, go ahead, my brother. But eventually the thing's going to fall over. I do not understand unless my theory is correct. And that theory is that there's something racial playing out here. It's the only thing that makes sense at this point. And like I don't want anybody sitting here be like, "Oh, you're defending the white guy in reverse rate." No, I'm not. But please tell me, if it's not racial, then what is it? Because nothing else makes sense at this point. Y'all have literally nothing left to stand on. Teddy throws bad picks. Teddy throws bad throws. Teddy throws ducks. Teddy loses games constantly, makes poor decisions constantly. None of the tropes, none of the things that you said Teddy was going to do before the season have happened. For you pundits that want to cut us off because we might say something or point out something that you said earlier in the season, like, oh, practice matters. Really? Does it? Or he's just so great before the snap. Really? Is he? Because I haven't seen it. I've yet to see the play where he checked them out of a play and then into a better play, and it turned out to be even a big play. It ain't even got to be a touchdown. I have yet to see it. And in case y'all haven't paid attention, I watched the all 22 after the game. I'm that kind of nerd when it comes to football. I watch not just the live game, but I watch a replay, I watch the highlights, and then within 24 to 48 hours on NFL Game Pass, Game Pass, I'll go on and I'll watch the coach's film and I'll break down. That's how I give you the analysis that I do when I talk about that play of Drew Lock's where he threw the interception at halftime against the Washington football team, and Teddy had to come back in, and everybody wanted to jump on him with that. Against the Chargers, I'm sorry. And Derwin James made that incredible interception that nobody wants to give Derwin James credit for and just want to jump on Drew Lock. That's how I was able to go and look and see that all three guys over there were running the same damn route, and they all just stood there and stared at Drew like he was the idiot and didn't know what he was doing when he was trying to get him to go downfield. But I digress. Again, don't want to be this all about the quarterbacks and Drew. But I mean, again, one last thing. How about we point out the fact that the running game wasn't doing anything with Teddy Bridgewater essentially under center. The moment Drew came in, the defense backed up, and all of a sudden, the very next play, the first play from scrimmage by Javonte Williams is a 10-yard run over the left side. Why? Because the defense was terrified of Drew Lock's arm. That should tell you all you need to know. If the simple mere presence of a man stepping on the field changes the defense, that tells you who the better quarterback is. It tells you who the more talented quarterback is. And it's stupid to think any other way. I just don't get it. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's jump off of this. Again, horrible game. Great defensive effort. This defense looks great. And I think that it's going to go a long way towards the Broncos finding their next signal caller, which I do believe is going to be through trade, because again, they have allowed Teddy to screw the season up enough that we don't have a franchise quarterback and now no longer have a draft pick that's going to be worth drafting a quarterback or be high enough that the Broncos can afford to trade up to get a quarterback, which again, this year is not the greatest thing to get a quarterback in the draft in the first place. So again, another giant reason why it would have been smarter to start Drew Lock and just let him do his thing and either ball out and be the franchise guy or suck and get a top 10 pick. This is an absolute waste of a season at this point. The Broncos have done nothing to get better, and now they are only going to get worse. There are several free agents. So, speaking of the offseason, as we stated earlier, one of the three musts that George Paton has to do this offseason. So, we're going to start from 3 and work our way down. The third most important thing is signing inside linebackers. All the 3 best linebackers on this squad are all free agents: Alexander Johnson, Josie Jewell, and Kenny Young. I say let Johnson and Jewell walk, keep Kenny Young, and allow Baron Browning to continue to just ball out and be a beast on the field. I love Baron Browning and what he does on the field. So I hope that they at least allow him to keep a starting spot, even if they don't keep Kenny Young, who I do actually love that what he's done since coming over from the Rams. Um, and being one of the 7 inside linebackers that the Broncos have put out there. It's insane. Insane to think about that they've had that many middle linebackers this year, but that's been the crazy season that is 2021 Broncos. So there's the first one. The second most important thing for Peyton to do is fix the offensive line, specifically the right tackle. I think we can kind of wiggle through one more year of Garrett Bowles, even though yesterday we got to see another reason why I said that contract was going to age about as well as milk left out in the Sahara Desert. It just wasn't going to work out. I know my boy Dylan doesn't like those takes, but I'm sorry, dude. Garrett Bowles, I never liked the fact that they were going to give him a contract extension, and this is another one to that. I forget what his name is. People call him BK. I call him Burger King. He looks like some dude from the Trailer Park Boys, and that he belongs in his mama's basement, and that she got him at a thrift store that nobody else that he was left by his real mother, and she just stuffed him in the basement. Brian Koningsberg, I think it was. Yeah, how's my ass taste, homie? That you're looking at this. So I hope you see this, bruh. And this is why I call you the discount, the knockoff mama's basement creature that was caught on sale. So screw you, buddy. Um, anyways, we'll move on from there. Let me check out these chats. Yes, let the football stats speak for themselves. That is my main thing. I let the stats speak for themselves. And yes, until the day that I die. I am a Colorado native. For those of you that don't know, I belong here from day one. I bleed orange and blue. Y'all don't get to question that. Period. Oh, we got a long one here. I think people that back Teddy backs him because he is older, and I think they feel like they are better off with a seasoned QB than a non-seasoned QB. I also believe that because of the guy Teddy is off the field, they are constantly pushing for Teddy to be the guy on the field. Teddy also has his people just because he is black. I think you're probably right on all of those things. I really do. Um, I think that, I mean, he's an easy guy to root for. I get it. He's a good guy. He seems like a great guy. Seems like the locker room loves him. I mean, even Vaughn, like I pointed it out earlier in the season. When I retweeted a video of Vaughn talking to Teddy on the field, talking about we haven't had that since 18, talking about Peyton Manning. And that was when I was like, and I said it right then. I said, okay, I now understand more of why Fangio, and this is another reason why I say it's personal with Fangio and Drew Lock, is because they like Teddy and Drew. Maybe he's that guy behind the scenes that's a little bit arrogant that might rub you the wrong way a little bit. But I mean, isn't Aaron Rodgers that same guy? Isn't Tom Brady that same guy? I mean, really, outside of Peyton Manning, have you seen an alpha quarterback, a Super Bowl winning quarterback that didn't have a little butthole in him at some point? Like John Elway, every player will tell you they loved him as a player, but that he could be a true a-hole. Like, I mean, every great quarterback, every person that's great at something has some kind of arrogance. But it's the difference of have you earned that arrogance or not? And maybe that's the thing, is that Drew has a little bit too much arrogance that he hasn't quite earned. Because another thing that I point to is the fact that Fangio remembered and made sure to tell the media to tell Teddy Bridgewater happy birthday, but forgot that Drew and Teddy have the exact same birthday. The media had to tell him, hey, it's Drew's birthday too. And he's like, oh, really? And then moved on. He never even said happy birthday. after he was told it was his birthday. He just moved on. Like, you cannot tell me that's not personal. That is as personal as it gets. You remember one guy's birthday that's the exact same day as the other guy. Make sure you tell the media to tell him happy birthday. And then when you're reminded it's the other guy's birthday, you're just like, whatever, and move on. Like, that doesn't get any more personal than that. So this is why I laugh at the people who are like, oh, you're Fangio picked Teddy over him, and they keep putting out an injured Teddy. That's because it seems like Fangio hates Drew Lock. It just seems so personal with them. Even when Drew's out there, he just got an ugly look. Like, it's an uglier look than normal. Like, Fangio has a resting ugly face, but it's just extra ugly when Drew's out there on the field. Like, I don't know. It's just insane to me how a head coach can hate one of his players so damn much. It's insane. But again, going back to what we said, talking about that, the number one thing that must be done after inside linebackers, offensive line, obviously quarterback. And I bring this up because I got a little bit of a nugget from Pro Football Talk that I wanted to bring to y'all's attention. And I don't know how this hasn't been blasted everywhere, but Deshaun Watson, 18 or 19 of the 22 cases have been settled. Not going to be settled. They have been settled. And as it turns out, that because he couldn't settle the last 3, he didn't get traded to Miami. That's the only reason that Tua is here on a playoff run with the Dolphins, is because Deshaun Watson could not finish settling 3 of those lawsuits. And this is another, the reason I wanted to bring this tidbit up is because this goes back to reaffirming what I believe is happening. If you are a person that has been victimized, you are not going to just accept money. You want justice, correct? So these women have accepted money, and on a condition of that money, it seems that Deshaun Watson has signed an NDA, meaning he can't speak about what's going on. Not the girls, him. So that means the girls have something to hide. I'm not a victim blamer. All of you that know me know. I love women. I am all for empowerment of women, but I am also all here for justice. And this smelled fishy to me from the beginning. A lot of people said I was messed up for saying it off rip, but it smelled fishy from the beginning. That just barely a month after this man gets a giant contract, all of a sudden 22 women come out of nowhere when this man has never had a blemish on his record. He's never been in trouble with the team, let alone the law. And then magically, the moment he gets paid, 22 women, he's wronged 22 women. Yes, is it obviously possible? Yes. We have all saw it with Bill Cosby and how that all transpired. So yes, is it possible? Of course. Do I believe that he was wronged for being investigated? No. I believe that all allegations deserve due process. I believe that he deserved to be investigated. But the fact remains that the NFL, who has never waited for legal issues to resolve, to met out punishment, has still yet to punish Deshaun Watson. After an almost entire year of investigating this situation, the NFL has yet to even hint that they are going to punish him. The Texans have essentially begged the NFL front offices to do something to put him on the exempt list so that way they can get him off their roster and they don't have to pay him. And the NFL has refused. And For the NFL to tell an owner no, their boss no, takes a lot. That means that they have to have viable reason to tell their boss no and not be fired. Okay? Go tell your boss no and see how that works out if you don't have a viable reason to tell them no. Okay? Just think about that. So, this man is still active and on the roster for the Texans. Has not missed a single game check, has not been fined, has not been suspended, has not even been put on the exempt list just so that the Texans can free up a roster spot and maybe sign another quarterback or something. So, with that being said, if he's only got 3 more left to settle, he should have those settled by the new league year, which means that if there was teams willing to trade for him, because another tidbit on that story is that Carolina was going to take him anyways. Carolina was going to give the Texans whatever they wanted, and they didn't care that he didn't have the other 3 taken care of. But he would not waive his no trade clause. So Deshaun would be a Panther right now if it wasn't for the fact that he was like, nah, bruh, I'm not going to deal with that. So it has also been reported the Broncos are one of 5 teams that Deshaun Watson will waive his no trade clause for. So that again brings me back to point number 1 that must be done. Get a quarterback. And if Deshaun Watson, I mean, I'll take Russell Wilson. Screw Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to deal with that mess. I don't care. I don't care if he can give me a 4-year run at the Super Bowl. I would rather suck than deal with Aaron Rodgers and having to talk about his insufferable self. I am absolutely over Aaron Rodgers. But Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, all day. I don't care what you got to give. Outside of giving up a bunch of young talent, which is stupid, you don't deplete a roster to go get a quarterback that's trying to run from a depleted roster. Like that part's stupid to me. Like I've seen some local pundits like, oh, I'll give them all the first round picks, all the second round picks, all the third round picks. I'll give you Bradley Chubb, Jerry Jeudy. Da, 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 da. No, dummy. That completely defeats the purpose, you idiot. You're supposed to bring him on because you have a better roster. You can't give up your better roster to get the guy. That's asinine and retarded. Stop being stupid. Like I get you want to create a narrative or whatever, but this is why I go independent because I don't have to be forced by my boss to say retardedly stupid things like that. See, that's the difference between me and the other guys. Nobody tells me what to say. Whenever you see or read, hear, whatever the case may be, anything that I've said, it comes directly from me. I'm the boss. I don't make up things because they're controversial. I don't come up with ideas simply because I want to irritate you or I want to see what your reaction is. I bring you the truth and the facts. That's it. It's that simple. I don't know why people got to try and make it complicated because it's really not. Especially with me, I'm a pretty simple dude. I'm going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it real 100% of the time. I don't know why y'all want to make it complicated. And talking about keeping it real, let's move on to our previews and predictions here of the Broncos and Raiders game. It's coming up this weekend. The Raiders are another very winnable game. This is just like last week where we were talking about how there was chinks in the armor of the Bengals. Well, there are definitely chinks in the armor of the Raiders. And they are quite a bit more pronounced because unlike the Bengals, who obviously have a smart head coach that knows how to manage a game and call plays and things of that nature, as we all know, the Raiders lost their head coach several weeks ago because he's a racist POS. So now they are kind of listing on the sea. They had playoff aspirations at one point, as did the Broncos. Right now, both teams are kind of just playing for pride. Overall, the Raiders lead the overall series 68-54-2. The Broncos have not beaten the Raiders since December 29th, 2019. So almost 2 full years since the Broncos have beat the Raiders. But again, those were games where they had momentum and a head coach. Well, except for the last one. But still, they had momentum and they had players, and they hadn't dealt with the whole Henry Ruggs situation where he murdered a human and a dog all in one night because he decided he didn't want to call an Uber. Um, but here we are. Uh, the defense of the Raiders is their biggest weakness, especially their run game. They have a really good pass rush. Max Crosby and company, they have a legitimate pass rush. But when you have a secondary that's just middle of the pack and you can't stop the run, that's where you're going to run into issues, even if you have a great pass rush. Everything is about symmetry on the football field. The pass rush has to complement the, the pass coverage. The pass coverage has to complement the pass rush. The pass rush has to get there before the coverage loses coverage, and the coverage has to keep coverage until the pass rush gets there. So it's all about creating that symmetry. The Raiders do not have that. Now you see that with the Broncos. As you see, they're second in points per game. Broncos are fourth in total yards against per game, fifth in pass D, and 10th in rush D. As opposed to the Raiders, who are 21st overall in total yards against per game, 13th in passing yards against, and 26th in rushing yards against. So again, this is yet another week that committing to the run would be the smart move. But we're going to have to see if Pat Shurmur can get out of his way. Now, the positive here is that when Drew Lock is on the field, the Broncos run almost 80% of the time. So it seems that if for you people that have been screaming for them to run the ball, you should have been screaming for them to have Drew Lock at as a quarterback. Because with Teddy in, they tend to pass much more than they run. When Drew's in, they absolutely commit to the run. It's just without a question. Because Pat does not want Drew to throw the ball. Even though we saw yesterday again multiple times why I am so adamant that there is potential for Drew with those lasers he was just flinging all over the place. So, again, the Broncos can win this game. They have the better defense. Their offense, they're pretty similar. The Broncos are sitting at scoring 20.4 points per game at 20 for 23rd in the league. The Raiders are at 21.8 for 18th in the league. So, they're pretty much what on offense. But then you look at total yards, that's where things kind of change. The Raiders do rack up much more yardage, but they just don't score much more than the Broncos. Right now, the Raiders are 10th overall in total yards per game as an offense, second in passing yards per game, and 30th in rushing. So if the Broncos can do what they do, run the ball well, pass off of play action, play to their players' strengths, stop, again, trying to put square pegs into round holes, and they limit the exposure of Drew Lock, they can win this game. Their defense is more than capable of shutting down the discombobulated offense that is the Las Vegas Raiders with Derek Carr under center. Derek Carr is essentially Teddy Bridgewater with a slightly better arm. If you can get to him, you can rattle him, and he's not going to really burn you deep. Very rarely is he going to put the ball deep. So stack the box, punch him in the face, limit Josh Jacobs to less than 75 yards. You can keep Derek Carr to about 250 and one touchdown. The Broncos can walk away with this game, on the road or not. in the Death Star or not. The Broncos can win this game. And again, as I stated last week, I'm doing my best to stay as positive as possible. So I am going to take the Broncos and have them defeating the Raiders on the road for the first time in 2 years. And it will be a final score of 28 to, we'll say 17. I think 17 sounds like a good number. I think the Raiders will get a couple of touchdowns and a field goal, maybe even a pick six. Who knows? Drew's out there. It's a possibility. Again, I'm not a lock apologist. I'm a realist, and so it's possible. It's possible Drew could go out there and throw 4 touchdowns. It's also possible Drew could go out there and throw 4 interceptions. But guess what? It's going to be a whole lot funner to watch than what the hell we watched from Teddy yesterday. I'll tell you that much. Drew might be chaos, but at least he's entertaining chaos. And isn't that what we're here for? Are we not here to be entertained? Right? All right. So, as always, for Breaking Broncos on the Bird Gang Sports Media Network, Philly Insider Podcast. I appreciate you. Real dude face. No script needed. Yes, no scripts ever. And Philly Insider Podcast. I appreciate you jumping in. What's up, my guy? We're actually at the end of things, but hey, give us a like, subscribe, all that stuff. I'll check you out as well. But again, for all y'all, make sure like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. All those things are absolutely epic for y'all to do. We appreciate them, and they are what keeps this channel alive. Also, make sure you check out the descriptions. Again, Bird Gang Sports Media Network, they got a merchandise store. Go ahead and make sure you support them. We have our merch on our store, Tay 42 Swag Shop. Make sure you check that out. Support the channel. Give us the likes, the subscribes, hit all the buttons, all the things. Again, for Bird Gang Sports Media Network, the answer is 42 Media Network. I am your host, Daniel Wetstein, for the Breaking Broncos podcast. And as always, don't question the blue.